should I take medical advice from? The Center for Disease Control? The National Institute for Drug Abuse? Doctors? Substance abuse counselors? Scientists? People who study those kind of things? Or maybe, I don't know, how about some guy on Facebook who made a viral video that loves to wear flat brim caps? I think I'll do that. That sounds like a better idea. Well, hello everyone, TheMedsPeds here. Time for another super serious video. Not one where I'm in character. This is me officially speaking for real. I saw a video that was on my Facebook feed and it pissed me off. So I decided to do a totally original thing. A response video. So let's just dive in. Why don't we?
What's up, buddy? How you doing? Not good.
Okay, I'm just gonna skip over his little skit here and just jump right into the argument.
I got a disease. Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. Yeah, I just found out today. The doctor's saying I'm addicted to drugs. Addicted to drugs? That's not a disease. That's just an addiction. It's a disease, bro. My doctor just diagnosed me.
Okay, so this random guy apparently knows more about the brain and addiction than, I guess, most of scientists, doctors, all those people I mentioned before. So I guess this is something that we're here to debate, so I'll go ahead and debate that for you. And I'm going to go ahead and side with all the people with the, studies and degrees and brain scans and all that kind of stuff. I know, edgy, isn't it? Let's attempt to dissect this piece by piece. Well, I'm not going to do piece by piece, but you know what I'm saying. Come, just go back to it.
Gosh, what is it? Is it cancer? Is it hepatitis? No. Is it AIDS?
Let's first take your 3 examples of diseases, real diseases, I guess, because he uses them to compare them to drug addiction. Cancer, hepatitis, and AIDS. Bad choices, because you can get all 3 of those diseases by making poor choices. And to further elaborate on that, you can get hepatitis by going get a scratcher tattoo or sharing needles, dirty needles. You could get cancer by smoking or drinking or tanning too much. And you can get AIDS by, the butt sex. So, what's your point exactly? Oh, that's right. You don't really have one. You're just some fucking brim cap douchebag on a moral high horse. That's really all you are. But let's slow down the ad hominems. Let's calm down here, Meds. Don't get too stupid.
I gotta start doing NA? Oh, Narcotics Anonymous. Okay, so basically you're just giving up one addiction and exchanging it for another addiction. So instead of doing drugs all day, you'll just be going to groups every single day.
He's seriously suggesting that someone going to an AA or an NA meeting and talking about their feelings with people that go through similar experiences, he's saying that that's the same thing as being addicted to drugs because you're just trading one addiction in for another. Well, guess what? One is consuming, probably, unless it's alcohol, which is legal, an illegal, deadly substance that impairs your body, it causes damage to your job, your relationships, puts people in danger if you drive around on the substance, and the other is going to a room and talking. Are you seriously making those things equatable? Because if that isn't a false equivalency, I don't know what the fuck is. That's stupid. That's ridiculous. But let me just say, I'm not here to support 100% NA or AA. They're kind of cultish and they apply religion a lot. A lot of medical experts have also expressed some grievances with their way of doing things. I mean, it was established, I think, in the 20s, and they haven't really updated shit, even though we know a lot more about the brain and addiction now than we did back then. But like I said, it still helps people. If people want to sit there and talk about their 987 days sober, that's fine by me, and put a picture of their coin up, and it's better than them being drunk driving around putting other people's lives at risk. Like I said, it's still not an equatable thing. That's absurd.
Bro, I was just diagnosed with a disease. Show some sympathy. No, I'm not going to show you any sympathy. You know why? Because you don't have a disease. You have an addiction. You have a weakness. You chose to put that needle in your arm and shoot up that heroin. You chose to snort that line of cocaine. You don't have a disease. You're just weak. A disease isn't something that you choose to do.
Look, most drug addicts really don't give a fuck if you personally have sympathy for them. You have every right to think what you want about addicts. You can think of them as weak people, and you can think you're better than them, and you can think that the decisions they make are horrible, and you don't want to donate any money to making sure that they get treatment. That's fine. No one's asking for that, okay? but your judgment does not magically make reality not reality. You saying you chose to put that heroin needle in your arm doesn't change the fact that drug addiction is a disease. It just doesn't. The definition of a disease is as follows: a disorder of a structure or function in a human, animal, plant, especially one that produces specific signs or symptoms, or that affects a specific location and is not simply a direct result of a physical injury. So yeah, if you break your leg, you don't have a disease. That's a given. But when you are addicted to drugs, at least on a physical level, like an addiction to an opiate, alcohol, benzo, something like that, you have a physical addiction. Your brain chemistry is changed. Your brain does not function properly without the substance. So, by that definition, yes, it's a disease. I don't see anywhere in that definition, which is taken straight from the dictionary, that says anything about choice or weakness or willpower. There's nothing in there about that. You can observe a brain of an addict and see that it's different than a brain of a non-addict. That's really it. This really shouldn't be up for debate.
Little kids with cancer and AIDS, they have a disease. They didn't choose to have a disease. They were given a disease.
But I know drug addicts wouldn't form physical addictions to said substances if they just made better choices, and a little kid with cancer didn't choose to have cancer. I get what you're saying here. I get it. But really, if this means anything at all it means is that you should be the one out there, asking the medical community to update the definition of the word disease. You want a separate word to describe the physical change that happens in the brain of an addict. I guess you want that word to be choice? So, I have a question. If you don't take care of your teeth, you don't brush them properly, you smoke, you don't floss, you don't get professional cleanings, you get gingivitis. And then if you continue not to do that, it leads to gum disease? Should we not call it that? I mean, because brushing your teeth, it's pretty simple. It takes like 2 minutes, and then you floss once a day, gargle some soap. It's really not that difficult to take care of your teeth. You have to be pretty goddamn lazy to get gum disease, and I have it, so hello. But it's still called gum disease, and it's due to poor behaviors. Like I said, we talked about this earlier when I brought up your bad examples. There's lots of diseases that affect people due to choices. I mean, look at type 2 diabetes. People will eat themselves to the point where their fucking pancreas no longer produces insulin. Where's your video about that? I don't see it.
That was your choice, and it's your choice to be stronger than your addiction. You're so weak that you give in to these counselors and doctors and let them brainwash you into thinking that you have a disease. You need to take responsibility for the addiction that you created. You need to come to terms with yourself and realize that you created this entire addiction. You need to come to terms with yourself and realize that you can overcome this addiction.
It sounds like you have a personal problem with people who have addiction problems referring to those problems as medical issues, because you think that they're just weak-willed people and that they can just stop. Well, let me explain something to you. You can't just stop for the most part. And for certain substances, that can be deadly. That's right, dude. You can literally die from alcohol or benzo withdrawals if you just abruptly stop without the oversight of a medical professional. That happens. So if you do something every day for years and then you stop and die, are you really going to say that, he just choice, weak. He should have just thought himself on that death. Fucking bro. Children, little children, they cancer. Children and cancer. Drugs are bad. And so let's talk about the actual choice part of addiction. Okay, so when you have a physical addiction to something and your body craves it, you'll show the compulsion to consume the substance, which literally distorts your brain from acting rationally. That's why junkies break into cars and things like that. Obviously not every person is the same, and we can't just write it all off. And I'm not saying that the behavior is okay, but there is a medical explanation, a scientific explanation to why these things happen. It kind of reminds me of the same people who stigmatize people with anxiety and panic disorders and depression problems. You should just, feel better. Stop laying around. Stop worrying. It's like, no, dude, there's legitimate, observable differences in brain chemicals, okay? People who have depression disorders have serotonin issues. People with panic disorders and anxiety disorders have issues of non-epinephrine and cortisone levels are off. These are things that are observable that you can't just think your way out of. I mean, I understand that with a mental disorder, you can maybe improve your symptoms if you try, exercise and better eating and going out and getting some sun, but it won't make these disorders just go away. It'll just alleviate some of the symptoms for some people, for people who don't have the more severe cases of mental illnesses. So a drug addiction definitely has physical characteristics of a physical disorder and mental characteristics of a mental disorder. Like I said, the compulsive irrational behavior that they wouldn't do if they weren't physically addicted to the substance. I wonder what this guy thinks of crack babies. I mean, they're addicted to drugs. Of course, they didn't make the choice, but they were born with an addiction, and their brain chemistry and body is all weird and different sized because of drug use.
Little kids with cancer and AIDS, they don't have a choice. They are diagnosed with a real disease. And all the while, people with actual diseases are dying every single day. But we need to feel sorry for you because you chose what to be addicted to?
But I know. It's not about the science. It's not about the physicality to this guy. It's about the moral superiority. He thinks, for some reason, that if we give drug addicts treatment, we're taking away treatment from sick kids with cancer. I'm pretty sure there's pediatricians and cancer specialists that handle those kind of things, and they don't quit their jobs to go work with junkies. That's not really happening. I don't think that's an issue. I think people who choose to go into those fields do it because they want to. And by you sitting here and saying drug addiction is a choice and not a disease doesn't mean that, all that money is going to be transferred to little children dying of diseases that they can't control or something. I don't really get your point there. You keep bringing that up. Look, I have not met every single person on this planet. I don't think you have either. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but I think it's safe to assume that you probably haven't met every single person. Can we agree there? Okay, so I don't think anyone really says when they're, 13, 14, when I'm about 20, I think I'm going to start popping a couple Norcos, and then I'm going to move up to Roxy's, and then I'm going to start, snorting heroin, and then I'm just going to become a full-out junkie and shoot up heroin and just spend every day trying to make sure that I'm not dope sick. I don't think anybody really wants to do that. It's not something that people electively choose to do. It's not a very happy lifestyle. I mean, I've been around junkies my whole life. I work in a field where people have substance abuse issues. I've been around alcoholics. I live in South Louisiana, and it's pretty shitty. It's not something that's, that great. And it's weird that he wants to focus so much of his time on stigmatizing people who are actually reaching out for help. He's not talking about the junkie who's breaking into the car to steal the iPad to go get more heroin. He's not talking about that guy. He's talking about the person who's going to the doctor because they want to get better. He's stigmatizing that person. That blows my mind. If you want to ride a high horse, ride the high horse of the alcoholic who's 65 that tells you to fuck off every time you bring up his alcoholism. I mean, I understand that denial is a part of addiction, and I personally wouldn't really criticize that person because I understand that it's not that simple, and denial's a powerful thing. But at least I could, understand his point of view a little bit more if he wanted to focus on active addicts that refuse to get treatment, who live in denial, not addicts who are trying to better themselves to get off of the drugs. They want to go to AA, they want to go to NA, they want to go to rehab. You're literally suggesting that this is just taking away treatment from poor little kids with cancer. There's a shortage of pediatricians or something.
Meanwhile, weak addicts like yourself are diagnosed with money-making ideas, prescription drugs, and rehabilitation centers. These doctors and counselors are coddling you to make sure that they get paid.
Doctors just want your money, right? Yep, it's all conspiracy to make money. Antidepressants never work. There's suicide pills, right? Isn't that right, Alex Jones?
Suicide pills!
Alex. That's what I thought, right? Jesus Christ, where's my tinfoil hat when I need it? Look, I understand that there is some corruption and people do things to make money, but, yeah. you should maybe look into the research a bit before you just make that giant assumption and lump every type of doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor together into one little group that want to enable drug addicts. What's your alternative, really? You think just watching this video is going to make them stop? Oh, okay, well, I have a feeling you don't really know any addicts. I mean, like, really know them. Because it's apparent you've never taken a class on physiology or psychology or drug addiction, substance abuse, whatever. I mean, if you did, you're just sitting there the whole time probably, like, tweeting to Paul Just Watson about the propaganda that the leftists are pushing our way to make us feel weak and, you know, victimized or something. But, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, this guy is wrong. And I don't know why this video went viral. Thankfully, a lot of people in the comments are at least arguing. Props to you guys. Keep it up. But, yeah, my name is TheMedsPeds. You can subscribe to me and donate money to me and all that kind of stuff. Go check out my Discord that 4 people are on. Follow me on the Twitter. Do all that. But, yeah, like this video and share. I'm out.
Well, I don't need nothing before the show. I don't need nothing, well, that's not so. I need something